It's some 35 minutes after 6. You're watching the AM show, and Joseph Akable has joined me. We're about doing the newspapers. Good morning to you, Joseph.
Good morning, Mavi.
You good?
I'm very well. It's a Friday.
Yeah.
All workers love Fridays.
Yeah, you do love
You
Fridays,
don't love
right?
it when you're working the next day.
You are working over the weekend. Aha, the way you're talking about it. But you didn't go to Parliament yesterday.
No, I had to be in court. It had to do with Major Mohammed's case. So,
Okay.
that kept me away from Parliament yesterday.
Where are we with that case?
Interesting development. The bit about the autopsy report that has delayed. The doctor who carried out the exercise came over and told the court that it has delayed because the police investigators are not cooperating with him. Again, he said certain parts of the body have been taken. He doesn't know who has taken it and for what purpose. And so those were the two big issues that came up yesterday. But the magistrate has handed them 3 weeks to ensure that they provide the autopsy report. So they should collaborate.
That's worrying, right?
Yes, very worrying.
It means that the autopsy has not been done.
It doesn't mean that entirely, because from what we understand, they pick what they need to pick and they need to take it to the lab and carry out the test and present the report. So you don't necessarily need to have the body before you do it. Once you take what you need to take, you can do it whether the body is in the ground or still up. I
still don't know. So what's the hiccup? Like, I still don't know what the hiccup is.
So the police investigators are supposed to present a docket to the Attorney General. They have done so. But the AG asked that they add the autopsy reports to it, just so we are all clear on what exactly caused the death, to give the case a bit more of a strength of a sort. So that is why for the past month, they've adjourned the case a number of times, simply waiting for that report to come in.
Amazing. So now they've been given how many?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yes, they have to collaborate. Whatever the pathologist needs, they should provide that, just to ensure that the report is available for the case to proceed.
Which facility is handling this?
37 Military Hospital.
All right. Okay, now let's do the newspapers. You've got the graphic?
Yes, our daily graphic front page says MTN sanctions 3,000 agents for mobile money fraud. Details of that story is on page number 3. You have Mr. Elihini, is the senior manager, MTN Mobile Money. New boards for state-owned media. There's a photograph of Professor Kakari. He chairs the graphic board. Energy bond realizes 2.2 billion cedis and 22 million mobile accounts, 11.6 million bank accounts in Ghana there. So it appears we have more mobile money accounts than bank accounts. And
we have a lot more mobile money accounts?
Yes, 22 million mobile accounts, mobile money accounts, and 11.6 million bank accounts in Ghana. So that tells you that people want banking to be a bit more convenient. And the mobile money thing, despite the challenges, interestingly, on the same front page, there's that story about agents being sanctioned for fraud. I think this week, one of the big issues that has come up has to do with mobile money fraud and how agents are said to be complicit in it. They give details of transactions to people. They call people through various means. And it appears that is where the bulk of our money is. So it may be time for authorities to pay a lot more attention to that sector.
Is this headline by, if you look at it, MTN sanctioning some 3,000 agents, is it also trying to tell us that they are at fault in a sense?
I find it interesting because when the head of cyber at the Ghana Police Service, when he spoke about agents being complicit, there was a denial from some of the telcos. They came out to deny. But if they have sanctioned, clearly they did something wrong. And when the point Dr. Gustav Yankson, who is the head of the cyber for the Ghana Police Service, made was that a lot of the times, the nature of the crime, you need to be in-house in order to have access to that information. So they know what kind of business you've transacted. They can call you and tell you there's a challenge with your password. What is it? So that rectify it, and you end up.
And that was very revealing, really, for the police too, because you know that the telcos would always keep denying, and they give us all
they
sort
are
of
businesses.
side stories. Yes, true.
So that is it for daily graphic.
I've got the Finder newspaper. Let's go to the Finder. Front page of the Finder. Cocoa farmers cry foul as a girl destroys farms to plant rubber in Eastern region. Okay. And then also, open border policy will not undermine the economy, according to our president. Deputy Minister proposes 1 district, 1 Melcom. Amazing. 1 district, 1 Mama V. That won't be bad. Mobile money remains safe, secure, and reliable, according to MTN, despite the other angle that the Daily Graphic, took this morning, sanctioning of some 3,000 of their agents. That they are assuring that their mobile money system remains safe, secure, and reliable. But this story about, there's a story here. Deputy Minister proposes one district, one Melcom. Kind of curious. It's on page 8. What kind of one district, one Melcom? Where is it? Okay, so 4 additional members. No, that won't be the story. Deputy Minister for Trade and Industry, Robert Ahunka-Lindsay, has proposed the establishment of a Melcom branch in each district of the country. He said managers of the Melcom group of companies can make a mark in the retail industry by establishing one branch of Melcom in each of the 216 districts in the country. That's a smart way of getting a private businessman to buy into the idea of one district, one factory.
Well, I mean, this government they've already served notice that they believe that the private sector should lead growth. That's why they are saying that the one district, one factory, not a single one will be owned by government. They are more or less ensuring and helping, creating the conditions that allow the businesses to be set up. What is important is that when the company does that, I mean, there will be jobs across the country. Finding a job these days is very difficult. The only problem is that it appears the obsession with the one-to-one mapping. It's one too many. We know one village, one dam, one warehouse in one district, one factory, and it goes on and on. Well,
but if it's the thing that is trending, if it's the thing that is making it all nice and everything, why just move with it?
It makes it easier to assess the government at the end of 4 years. I mean, I think the major one that we're able to tie President Mahama to do with saying that he's going to build 200 schools. So we're able to count. So if you are saying one-to-one, in 2020, we can easily ask how many factories you've put up.
But I tell you what, no business would just move because you've said it.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things at stake. I mean, you have to look at the environment, you have to look at your business. And
whether they even have the market, because if something like Melcom, they need to be selling. If you can't go and put it up in an area where they don't even purchase items in such facilities, that will be a problem.
There's also another story here in the Finder that says government will ensure good working conditions for workers. That's in quotes. Says the government will work to ensure that workers perform their duties with the right incentives and remuneration. Mrs. Abino Sayasari, Deputy Minister for Finance, said this on Thursday at an organized labor forum which was held in Accra. She said government was forging ahead with plans such as strengthening the private sector to employ more people. Okay, so a reassurance, if you like. More other stories in the Finder News.
You realize the conclusion: private sector to employ more people.
Yeah,
the senior minister closed the door on the public sector long ago. But let's stay with government. For the Ghanaian Times is reporting this morning that government to launch campaign against corruption. Punctuality is coming from the Minister of Information. He has been talking about how they have a plan, carried out education, public education, inform people about the need to be punctual. I am punctual, you are punctual, but there are others who are not punctual. And a bit about corruption. And it's also at the same time where we are talking about MPs engaging in crossfire over the Special Prosecutors Bill. So it appears the campaign is being taken a step further. But I think the two issues, the corruption and punctuality, should be tackled at a very basic level. I mean, that is when teachers should check when students come in late. I recall when I was in primary school, when you are late, you're in trouble. It's either you don't go or you go knowing that you have a messed up day because you cry for money.
But what happens to the teacher who is late? Because we know that there are measures for the students who are late.
Or perhaps the civil servants, those who man a public institution. They're supposed to be at the ministries very early in the morning. They come in late. They take the Facebook, WhatsApp. People come in.
Is it our own minds? Is it an assumption? Because we've said this for a very long time.
I think the challenge doesn't exist.
Is it true?
It exists.
So if you're a public worker, if you're into the public service, listen, we've bashed you for a long time. I think the assumption is that you go to work late. You go late, you leave early, and you go Facebooking and doing other things.
Take long breaks.
So is it true? Is it true? But by the way, yesterday I was at the passport office. I have to say thank you to the security men at the gates, those who manned the place. There was a lot of order, but they were very helpful. When I got there, they were on lunch break. I didn't know that. And they resumed at 2. But at least at 2, the person who was supposed to be in the particular office where I was going was available.
So those are the kind of civil servants that we want to have. But the fact is that there are others who don't show up for work in time. I have had experiences. I went to do some registration in one of the offices in Accra, just not far from us. I got there, the gentleman, it was 3 p.m. The gentleman told me that even though he closes at 4:30, he needs to put together a report at the close of day. So since I just come in at 3, if my registration delays him, it means that he may have to stay beyond 4:30.
Oh, wow.
So he closes at 4:30. He's supposed to close and put together a report. But he told me that he wants me to come the next day for the registration because it will delay him since he has to wrap up quickly.
What did you do?
I had to plead with him. I told him because I also needed that information that day. So I pleaded with him before he agreed to stay on. But this is your working time. You're supposed to be there. I don't need to even plead with you. You have to be there till 4:30. When you close, you do whatever you do, then you leave. So it's that. I think they are good workers. We need to admit that. But the fact that the minister is speaking about it, that alone tells you that there's some kind of admission.
We've got a long way to go. So if you're a public service worker, you now tell me your own story. Send me a text message.
Well, the IGP is also speaking. He says we'll pursue all vigilante groups. This comes on the back of the incident that we talked about.
I don't believe that. I don't believe it. Honestly, I don't believe it.
I also don't. There is
We've
good
seen
reason.
too many of it. I mean, in the past week and this week as well. There's a lot of indiscipline. So if you keep telling us that you're going to do what? What did he say?
He said he's going to pursue all vigilante groups. I mean,
really? I don't believe you.
I think we want to see action being taken. We don't want to see that there are people who are too powerful to be dealt with. The IGP, I mean, it's good to talk when the media guys ask you a question.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. But I think the police service, they must watch it, because the more we have this kind of mind that, oh, they won't do anything, with time, with this mindset thing piling up, we will just lose it for you.
Yeah, and I think the police is a very important institution that we need in a society. Yeah. But unfortunately, not many have confidence in them. Things happen to people, and they are even reluctant to report the case to them.
The political party activists, the so-called, sometimes they're not even political party members, so they only say and put the name on themselves because they know they can get away with it. Yeah. They are more powerful than the local police officers we have in the communities.
Yeah. And you see, yesterday we spoke to one of the police spokespersons, and she was talking about what's happening in the Gan area, the disturbance, and we asked her whether they had made any arrests, and she said, no, the guys only went in to contain the situation. And I found it very strange. You go to a place, people are running around, throwing stones at each other, and you don't effect any arrest. And up to now, you are now going ahead to look for these individuals. It's like, what's happened here? You are saying you're going to pursue them. Your men were there. They saw it happen.
Pursue them and then no case in the end.
Yeah, they are discharged.
I don't know. You have to do something, Mr. IGP. We need action.
Well, let's do Daily Guide now. Yeah. Daily Guide says, we farmer busted. Minority rejects special prosecutor. There's a photograph of Gloria Ekufu. Afoko killed Adams is coming from a witness who is testifying in that trial. You remember the original chairman of the NPP, Adams Mahama, who was murdered. A witness, we are told, has testified saying that Afoko did kill him. No food for NDC polling agents. Butcher reports.
This is the Daily Guide is so serializing.
They were serializing. They abandoned it a bit when there were lots of threats. Then when others started serializing, they've come back. I'm sure they were monitoring. They felt like, this is the same document, or the things are the same. So they had to come back and talk about the same issues again. But that is
NDC says it's fake news.
Well, I don't expect them to admit it's actually.
And they insist that we can never ever get a hold of that report.
They've done well in keeping it because even after the launch, it took a long time. The only things we were aware of at that point was the things that Professor Butcher spoke about. Yeah. But it has taken a long time, even before Daily Guide started serializing this. Before subsequently we also started doing same. So they have done well keeping it. Yeah. If they were keeping state documents, that
so yesterday Neil Ante van der Poel, who is member of parliament for Ododo Diodio, but he also sat on that committee as a member of the Kwesi Botwe committee. And he said they had to meet as a group and look at what is in the public space and compare to what they have, the original documents. And they came to the conclusion that, yes, what is out there is not the report, is not the original report.
But so. I find that strange. I find that strange in the sense that, so when I author something, no matter how many we
His
are.
signature is there. The executive
but when I utter something, no matter how many we are,
yes,
we don't need to meet to know that that is not our document. We don't need to.
They call themselves back,
unless perhaps it's not word for word what they may have put together.
Okay.
Because I know that for committees work, and sometimes you have individuals write their own reports. Then once they are done, maybe the chairperson and one secretary, the person who is the secretary to the committee, put it together so that it reflects the view of all individuals. So it could be that what is out there in the public domain is the opinion of one person who is contributed to the overall thing.
Well,
but if you need to meet to assess it, then
well, according to the NDC, we will never know. So maybe we should just move on.
Let's see.
You're through?
Yes, with Daily Guide.
Okay.
So Daily Dispatch.
That'll be the last hardcore paper we'll do, and then we'll go online.
That's fine. So Daily Dispatch here says NPP government and vigilante groups 18 incidents of violence since January 7. So we spoke about that. We will deal with vigilante groups is coming from the IGP. So I think we've talked about those two issues.
We will deal. Yeah. Mr. IGP, as for we will deal there, it doesn't work for us. So it doesn't work for us. Yesterday I listened to Ekosi saying, and you should listen to Ekosi saying on Asempa FM.
It's an interesting show.
Yeah. So the local secretary, this has to do with one specific area where the YEA coordinator was chased, his motorbike was set ablaze, that all that's indiscipline.
Yeah.
And the secretary of the constituency was speaking with Kaba. Oh my God.
He didn't find anything wrong with what had happened.
Oh God. He said some people are eating. And then this one, I am quoting him, may not get exactly the words he used. Some people are eating, others are not eating. So that's why this is happening.
I blame the politicians. They promise too much to these individuals when they are campaigning for them.
Yeah.
And when you come into power and you realize that those who did not work as they worked are rather in power, that is when they will try to impeach some, the mayor they are trying to impeach.
But is YEA a political agency?
It is not.
It's a public agency.
It is not. But
they can employ anybody.
It is not.
Once you're Ghanaian,
just
and you qualify.
Or I think last week when Malik spoke to the board chairman on upfront. I mean, he put those questions to him. The fact of the matter is that it appears that is what it has been used for some time now. It is a way of rewarding the young people who do not have jobs. They are the ones who are those we call the foot soldiers. I mean, it's a way of rolling them into the model and getting them to work. And that is why when the new government came in, they spoke about how it appears there are lots of people who are not working, but they're on the payroll.
So apparently all these disturbances, all the indiscipline is no curfew. Let's do myjoyonline.com. On our page, myjoyonline.com, growing mobile money accounts attracting fraudsters. According to the Bank of Ghana, it has identified the overwhelming growth in mobile money wallet accounts over the last 2 years as the main attraction for fraudsters. Also on our page, one district, one factory takes off in 99 districts, says Deputy Trade Minister. Vigilantism task force will root out thugs, according to expert. Should we set up another tag that's chasing thugs?
We have the
it would mean that we're containing them. Like, they've become so important that we need a whole other setup. I don't think so. The police should be able to handle this. This is their business. Well, also on myjoyonline.com, 2016 election MPP slogans were better than the NDC's, according to Spio Gabra. He's making a few admissions, and he's definitely going for the NDC. He's contesting.
I listened to him yesterday. He talked tough on a number of issues, especially on this vigilantism. I mean, he in clear terms condemned it and attacked the governing party on those issues.
But he wants to be flag bearer.
Yes, he wants to be.
Okay. 2020?
2020 will be a tough one.
Yeah.
Himself, and if the former president decides to contest eventually, because I think President Mahama kind of have an upper hand because he led the party. I mean, he has the support base as it stands. Unless, as the reports suggest, the leaked fake reports suggest there is growing dissatisfaction within the rank and file of the party. That is when individuals like Spio Gabra can't move in as well. But let's see how
interesting times in the NDC. Sisala DCE flees irate youth as fresh NPP lawlessness enters day 2. So yeah, that's the conversation. This is what gets me really angry. But I mean, it still continues. We're containing. The police officers are there. They are watching. They're watching. They will act, but they are not yet acting, apparently. Okay, let's do some other story. Police charge fugitive 17-year-old suspect with defilement of 4-year-old. So the Central Region Police has officially charged the 17-year-old boy for allegedly defiling a 4-year-old girl. But I am very worried. I'm really worried, Joseph, because if Maxwell Agbagba had not visited this particular community and met this woman and her daughter, would this story have been told? Would the processes to get justice?
Not at all. We have to be frank about it. Whew. And you know, the IGP instructed that the regional command takes over the case and handle it. What is interesting about this charge is that they've not arrested him. So that's why the story says fugitive. They are still looking for him. They've only charged him. When the matter was reported that they had to go and effect the arrest, they were waiting on the father to go and identify the individual, while the report suggests that they knew him. The concern of many, those who are happy about this, what we should all be concerned about is what happens to the many cases of defilement that never get people like Maxwell Agbagba tell that story.
Exactly.
So that those cases.
It's a shame because, I mean, should it take like a big police officer to issue a statement and say, Central Region Police Command, take charge of the case?
I don't think that is the kind of police force the IGP wants at all levels.
We've been telling the stories. You are not acting. So unless a group of people, you know, decide to put their voices to it and the story is told every day. I mean, we're supposed to be working together. Yeah. We know that you can't police everywhere, and that's why the media will do some of the work sometimes. When you hear the stories, when you see the stories that we're telling, act. Don't wait for some big man at the police headquarters to write and say, Regional Police Command, take charge. Really?
But they should be able to pick him up. That is what I'm looking for too. I mean, we know that the Ghana police...
If they don't, it means they don't want to do the investigations. They don't want justice.
And I'm saying that because
it's a small local community.
You realize how they picked up the individuals who are alleged to have lynched Maxwell Mahama. Within a short space, they picked about 50 individuals from different parts of the country. Yeah. So it tells you that when the
they can do it if they want to.
They can
Ghana Police Service, and you see, it's interesting because yesterday I heard the story on the BBC, and this was around like 4, 5 p.m.ish, and they said they had gotten in touch with the Ghana Police Service, but they told them they would get back to them. So so when I saw the press statement later on, I was like, okay, is it because international media is interested in the story? That's why the police is acting.
Possible, apart from the discussions in the local media as well, if you had to put it that way. So all across. In fact, there was a hashtag trending 2 days ago. All talks about it.
It's a shame. It's a shame. All right, we've got other stories on myjoyonline.com. Ring announcer Nathaniel Atto, Basti Samuel Bukom Banco Rambo set to spark a revolution. Well, Nat actually has some very interesting views, you know, that he's been sharing. I think this will be a good read. You can find time and read the details. But there are, of course, other stories on myjoyonline.com and other things that you can take your time and read on myjoyonline.com. Before we go, we want to spend some time and talk about the Kenya elections. So let's do the BBC. And we do have messages, so I'll read a few of the messages as well. Matthias Aheto says, I hope the Office of the Special Prosecutor won't be an anti-oppositional grave for burying only the NDC, etc., but would act independently to fumigate the Ghanaian system against corruption. That's the message that you are sending to me. This one also says transferring ECG staff to places where their services would be mostly needed is not dismissal. The La Presec headmaster should know better from Says Stone. So this is another perspective to what is out there. If you're being transferred, it's not a dismissal.
Well, that particular story is. He complained about furniture. Some furniture came in, and he has been transferred.
This one there is linked. It's linked to demotion. It's linked to punishments.
He's going to head some curriculum development.
All right. This one says, "Good morning. Some of us get to work before 8 a.m. and close at 5:30 p.m." That's Francis, because I wanted public service workers. So Francis, thank you for getting back to us, and thank you for telling us, that you get to work at 8, close after 5:30. This one says. Okay, no, not sure I get exactly what you mean, but this one says, I wish we would check the attendance of workers every day, especially in the government sector. Abigail Usabote sending that message. I've got lots of other messages that I would read, but Joseph, let's do Kenya.
Yes, we are being told the election is still on. that story there talks about catch up on reports from around the country. Okay, so the thing about the African elections is that, I mean, when voting starts, we don't expect results to start trickling in.
Yeah, yeah.
It takes a bit of time.
It's true.
That is the unfortunate. I recall the Liberian election, the first round, after polls had closed. On the third day, I was still surfing the internet trying to find out who exactly had led or who was leading.
Yeah.
So it was very difficult finding out.
Okay.
It appears the same thing is happening with the Kenyans.
Yeah.
At the last check yesterday evening, we don't have much in terms of the results that have come in.
Okay. All right. So let's do a bit of the Kenyan story. A teenager dies in isolated clashes in Kenya, where many polling stations did not open for the rerun. Okay, so there are other stories here. The Congolese model who started a school, they're telling that story as well. But you know, Kenya is a bit, we still are not sure. The voting is going to happen in other centers that couldn't vote, you know, on day one, if you like. And we're told that it will take about 7 days for us to know who really has won this election. So I'm not sure about Kenya, but do we know, because there was low turnout yesterday, there was violence in certain places. We're told that one person, you know, died in the process. But so where are we with Kenya elections?
We're told to hold on for 7 days. I mean, this is Africa.
It's weird.
It's weird. Elections are supposed to be people walking peacefully to the polling stations, voting and ensuring that whoever they want to lead them, that's the majority of the people, that person comes into power. But these stories of pockets of violence often mask the process, especially with this election and how the issues about court and all those things have come up. We just wish Kenyans well. They should remain peaceful.
It's tricky. What I heard this morning is that we should expect a lot of legal disputes. There will be a lot of court cases. Coming from the camp of after the election. I don't know who is going to be doing that, but they're going to be questioning a lot of things. So the battle is not over.
And especially with the pronouncement of the court, how they are now the first election, people have some kind of confidence that the judges are bold enough to take such steps, so they will want to take matters, and that is why they tried just a day before to injunct that election. But unfortunately, some of the judges decided not to show up. I guess for the Kenyan situation, we just have to watch and see. I just hope that Kenya remains peaceful. That is just no life should be lost because of an election. That's all our prayers. And then another angle to look out for, I guess, will be those who monitored the monitoring missions and what their report would be after votes. All right, let's end with some messages, and then Benedict will come with sports. This one says, unless the police do their duty and deal with criminals chasing legally appointed persons, the phenomenon will continue. Raymond Osafo Jan in Kwewu Tafo sending this message. This one says the judiciary failed us in fighting the vigilante groups when they freed the Delta Force with the help of the AG. Silva Takwa is sending this message to us. This one says, I'm really happy for GES transferring the headmaster of Presekla. So, you know, different opinions on this particular matter. Until we all stop using big men to get out of trouble, the police will always look incapable of doing their job. Everyone seems to have a godfather in Ghana who will always help them when the law comes in. Very important comment you send there. This one says, Gambaga teacher training authorities refusing to give the student their feeding grants paid back by governments, and that's the message that you are essentially sending to us. This one says, the whole secret about this Kwesi Botcho report is that it was not done in a closed door session. What the Daily Guide is reporting is what was going on in all the constituencies after our defeat. It may not be in the report, but it is reality. That's entry from Techiman. Yeah, this comes close to it because it was an open session, so anybody could have just sat. I recall one of their engagements turned a bit violent. I think that was in the eastern region. Yeah, I recall that as well. Yeah. All right, Joseph Akabale, this is where we end it. Thank you very much for spending a bit of the week with me here on the show. I'll be back next week. Yeah, you will be back next week. Somebody sent a message, asked where Roland is. Oh, Roland is chilling, yo. He'll be back soon, though. Benedict is up next. After sports,
It's a Relationship Friday. Today we're talking about some real important issues. What kind of support do you have to give to your man who's, for instance, lost his job, who is low on cash, who's going through some really difficult times? As a wife, what kind of support can you give to your man who is in that situation? Amos, Kevin, and will be here. We'll have a conversation. You can start sending me your messages.